If you hear this message, wherever you stand, I'm calling every woman, calling every man.
Good morning, Detroit, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Empowered Living. I'm one of your hosts, Marshall Bryant.
And I'm the other host, Lawrence Allen. Good morning, Detroit.
Yes, we have a phenomenal show for you today.
Absolutely.
It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we have two breast cancer survivors that are going to be on, and then we have the Nation of Israel that will be on that's sharing some information. So this episode is full of information that you just do not want to miss out on. Yep, so we're going to start first off with two guests. We have Ms. Chantel Taylor, and we also have Ms. Wanda Bland. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome to Empower Living, ladies. Welcome.
These ladies are so courageous. They are breast cancer survivors, and they are doing great things, with empowering other women that are going through the struggle. So we're going to talk about this morning. So, I don't know if you want to lead in, Loris, but go ahead.
Well, like I said, as Marshall stated, that this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we've got your name. So we can if you all just want to share some little background and a brief story on your experience and what you went through. Wanda, we'll start with you.
I was diagnosed in 2011, and it was not something I was expecting. I'd missed getting my screening a year before, so it was caught in an early stage.
Good.
My diagnosis was right before a business trip.
Okay.
So I had a test. I went off to Germany and came back, and it was positive. So I had surgery in December of that year and also in January of the next year. And I have been cancer-free since then. I only had radiation, no chemo.
Okay, that's a good thing. Ms. Chantel?
I was diagnosed in 2006.
What's your mic?
I was diagnosed in 2016. I had HER2 positive, which is 2B, which is an invasive type of breast cancer. I had hormone treatment and I had Herceptin and Perjeta, which are targeted drugs. So they were not as invasive as the full chemotherapy, but they still were invasive treatments. So, and I am now in remission. So.
Okay. So with going through both diagnoses, it sounds like you don't always get the same type of treatment. Is that true?
That's true.
Yes, I didn't have it in any of my lymph nodes, so it wasn't, and it was easier for them to remove them, the lumps, so I just had a lumpectomy and radiation, and then some medication afterwards. Because mine was fed by hormones, I can't have any estrogen or anything, where hers is different from mine. So there's different types of breast cancer.
Okay. And that's good to know, because when you hear breast cancer, you just automatically think it's
General.
just general, the
breast
whole
cancer.
breast, and just,
No.
just remove everything.
Because mine was stage 1, so
Okay.
I was blessed to not have the invasiveness as some my coworkers had stage 4, and she's still living now. So
Wanda, did either of you ladies discover that's just on annual visits to your doctors?
yeah, I
or-
knew I had dense tissue, so I have to always make sure I go. And I've been getting monitored for years, and I think, like I said, I missed a year. My nurse practitioner actually was training someone, and the person that was being trained discovered it, and it went. My group of doctors were amazing. They came and we started treatment right away. My surgeon I loved him, and he retired. I actually was upset he retired. His thing was, you won't need me again. So
That's amazing.
Okay. So with going through breast cancer and everything, You all work with other women, correct?
I support other women that's in the fight. Um, People have heard about my situation, so they will contact me, and I will, help them through whatever they need for me at the moment. I do go to support groups and at the Henry Ford, so you know, I try to do my part.
Okay.
You mentioned support groups, and I'm glad we're on that. Truthfully, for the question for both of these ladies, how important are support groups, and how, I guess, and how impacting can they be for this kind of disease?
You really need the support groups because no one knows what you're going through. Only someone who has been through it or is going through it. So that type of support, they understand you more. So that support that you get from different people and their different perspectives, it helps a whole lot.
And for me, because I was stage 1 and my coworker had gone through such a invasive and long treatment and is still going through different stages of cancer or because it spread from different parts. I didn't go because my doctor kept saying, you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine. But the problem with that is I did all my treatments and you're done. However, the mental effects of it is still there. So that is why I encourage people, no matter what, to find either a support group, or for me, I ended up going to counseling, and I was able to talk with a counselor and help me go through some of my feelings and what I was going through and how it affects your family, your friends. People treat you differently.
Really?
Yes.
Yes, you will be surprised that you lose a lot of friends, people
Really?
that you think that will
Wow.
stick with you. You lose a lot of friends.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I mean,
We're on
I've had
something
guests,
else now.
we've
Yeah,
had guests
right.
on before, but they have never mentioned that. It always seems like that's the time when everybody wants to come together. But are you serious? People just bail on you at that
Yeah, you would
time?
think people would corral you,
Right.
corral around you. Oh, well, real friends, but yeah, come on, share, ladies.
Right.
But the thing about it is, I think from their perspective that they don't understand what you're going through because your mind has mentally changed. So the things that you used to do, you can no longer do, and then they don't know how to accept the new you.
Okay.
So they don't know. It could be scared. They could be scared. Sometimes they might feel that they don't have the right words.
Okay.
So in that aspect, you do lose a lot of friends.
Wow.
For
Yes.
me, it was my doctor was very adamant about the type of information I read, the type of sites I went on. So you had those friends who wanted to, I'm going to read up on it and I'm going to take care of you. And I was like, no. So you're protecting yourself during this time also puts people off because they want to take control. And then you had, like she said, you had others who didn't know what to do. So after my surgeries and they knew I was done, we might go out for lunch or something and they would just stare. I'm like, just ask me what you want to ask me, because they're trying to see, because all they know is full mastectomy.
Okay.
So they're looking to see what's different about you versus just asking you questions.
Right.
Yeah, so it, like she said, they don't know what to do. It scares them. So, and some are like, it's something you did. It's a whole gambit of questions, blame, because they don't know what to do. Family members are just, and for me, my best friend was at every single appointment along with at the time the person that I was dating. They were my support group, which was overwhelming for them because it was just the people I counted on the most.
Right.
So it does affect a lot of people.
Yes.
Okay. And do either of you have children?
I do. I have two boys and a girl.
Okay. So how does that affect the children?
It affects them Oh my God. My boys became my protectors. I mean, when I had a doctor's appointment, they was questioning the doctors, and my baby, she was my support system on days when I felt like giving up. She was like, "Mama, come on. You got to do this." But it affects them in ways that I think it changes everybody,
Right.
because everybody that's in the situation is so scared, so you have to stay positive. So
Yeah, and that's what I hear. A lot of my coworkers, it's two ladies I work with. They're survivors, and they go to doctor's appointments with other ladies, and they keep telling them, "Don't be scared. Just be positive. Just think of positive things." So,
yeah, you have to use that faith based.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And every year after, because for me, after my treatment and diagnosis, you have to go every 6 months, 3 to 6 months for a doctor's appointment, and then it goes to 6 months to a year. I'm back to going every 6 months again. So it never completely goes away. I have a new surgeon that I see, and hopefully that's the only thing I have to do is just go to him for my appointments.
right.
I'm very comfortable with him, so I trust him, and I've been blessed to have great doctors who listen, who
Right.
just because I've heard horror stories,
Yeah.
and I have been blessed to have doctors that I can actually sit and talk to. So if anything questionable, because what happens is every little thing that changes on your body as you get older, you get scared. It's not like, oh, this is just happening. Something happens, you get scared. Radiation affects you for a long time. So now you would think, since my treatment was back in 2012, no, I would be done, but you still have effects from that, and it's going to continue probably for the rest of your life. So every little thing about your body changing actually scares you.
When you ladies were going through your treatments, did you all experience any side effects?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you want to touch on that, please?
Side effects after treatment, you get so tired. You get sick. You get drained. So it's like certain things you can't eat.
Okay.
So for me, all I wanted was ginger ale. Ginger ale. That's all I could tolerate. But after treatments, your body just is on a different level. It just drains you. You just drained.
And for me, because I didn't have the invasive and some of the medication, it was different. I had radiation. I had 33 treatments. So I did 33 every single day. You had to go
Oh, okay.
every day, but the weekends. You had the weekends off. But I started off going after work, and one of the ladies because it would be a line of ladies just like this. We're all sitting there with our gowns on, waiting to go into the room. And we had a lady who came in, and most of the ladies were very encouraging. They had already gone through chemo, so I got to talk to a lot of different ladies. And one lady was very afraid, and her husband, the energy that they brought in changed the dynamic. So I changed my appointments to early morning. So I would have it at 6 a.m. and then go to work.
Okay.
So it's a long day, you're tired, and towards the end, clothing and everything is uncomfortable. They did put me on one medication that I didn't tolerate well, because it is a horrible medication. It makes you feel bad. It gives you side effects. You don't want to do anything, and I didn't tolerate it, and I didn't take it. So my doctors made a deal with me. If you don't take this medication, I need you never to miss your appointments. I need you to come in. You notice everything. You just come in. And so far, so good. So.
And I like what you said, too, Juana, because it sounds like both of y'all had very caring and concerning doctors who truly listen. Because unfortunately, like you mentioned earlier, there's some doctors who just kind of dictate
Yes.
and not listen to what the patient's really going through. So, I mean, that's both of y'all blessed in that regard.
Yes.
What do you
No.
do in that situation? you were saying that you heard other people, they didn't have good doctors, that the horror stories were terrible. But what do? Do they just, no choice, you have to stay because you're a provider, or you find another doctor?
You can find another doctor. My provider actually had a nurse that I could talk to from time to time. And because you were going through something, they assigned her. And she and I were talking, and it was more to make sure that the treatment they were giving me was necessary or whatever. But luckily, I was blessed even with that. She never questioned it. But I think you can ask for referrals. If you're not happy, you can always ask for referrals. And with the ladies that I work with, because there's so many, it was easy for me to find someone. And my best friend being a nurse, she questioned things that I didn't know to question.
Right. Yeah.
So for me, you have a team of doctors. When you first go in, you have a team of doctors.
Okay.
So you get to meet them one-on-one. Where I know for myself, I got to meet each doctor one-on-one. My oncologist, my surgery team, my nutritionist. I mean, you get to meet all of them one-on-one. So for my oncologist, I dealt with him for a year and a half, and then he up and took another job. So that was just upsetting to me,
Right.
because now I have to get familiar with someone new. So it was hard, but she seems like she's a pretty good doctor. Not as good as him, but you know, but you know, I'm quite sure he wouldn't have left me
Right.
in no less care than what he was giving me.
Right. And it's always good. I know, Wanda, you were saying that you had a friend that was a nurse, and it's always good to have somebody that is kind of like in the medical profession, because someone just shared something last night, and it's like, if you don't know, you just go in, and anything can happen. And what they were sharing is, now when you go and you get x-rays, when you get a dental x-ray, and also when you get a mammogram, they said ask for the shield, because if you don't ask for this particular shield, that it can create thyroid cancer. And they said, and you have to ask. Now, how do you know to ask this?
You don't know.
You know, and it's like, but why do you have to, this is your option? This is not an option. This is my health.
My surgeon was, when I got diagnosed, my surgeon was very adamant about certain sites to go on when I had questions. So I didn't, he said, don't Google everything, because you'll be dying by the time you finish. And so he gave me very good sites to read that gave me information. And then there was a hotline I could call, or he said, just call my office. If I'll get back to you. It might not be that day, but I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Because if you listen to other people and Google, you will be in a fetal position in your room with the lights out, saying it's the end, and it's not.
And see, that would be me. I'd be on Google going to doctor like, I read this, and this is what it said. You sure? They'd have to sedate me every time.
And you have to be careful, because even now I have friends going through other diseases, and we talk, and I sit there and I listen to them, and they'll talk to the pharmacist, they'll talk to this person, they'll talk. I'm like, you need to find two people and stick with that. Because otherwise you're going to get conflicting information, and everybody has a different belief on what you should take, how you should eat, how you should do everything, and you'll be crazy.
Now, I know some people, after they've gone plant-based or they've gone more like organic. Has that happened for either of you, or are you just regular diet, going back to your regular diets?
At first, for me, I was organic everything.
Okay.
I mean, you couldn't stick nothing processed in my mouth. But now, I have gotten more lenient, so, but I'm still doing the organic on certain things. But and another thing, alkaline water is wonderful.
Say it again.
Alkaline water is good for cancer.
I love alkaline water.
Yes.
For me, it's more because I did lose weight because of I lost a lot of weight, but it wasn't because of treatment. It was mood. it was the up and down, up and down, up and down. So for me now, it's more watching how I eat, portion control, and exercising, because you have to keep your weight in moderation, because they say excess weight can also add to your cancer reoccurring, and your mental state has to stay good, because negative energy and stress will bring it back.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
They adamant about that stress.
Okay.
And they tell you all the time, remain stress free.
Because now stress does release a hormone in the body, some type of something in the body chemically, and it does and a lot of people don't know that, and that's why we need to stay more positive rather than around
Absolutely.
here,
Yes.
you know, being
Absolutely.
upset. And see, these are the things, like you said, counseling. Did you discuss that at counseling and with the family and everything too?
I did. At first you don't want to. Sometimes you get some information that you listen to, and then you be like, might work for her, might not work for me. So, but you go and do your own research, and then you go from there. But yeah, we discussed all that. So
Okay.
it's pretty.
I had friends that are survivors, and she was also a nurse.
Okay.
And I met her through someone else, and she and I have become friends. And she's adamant about every aspect of your life. You really have to look hard at it. Is it necessary? What kind of energy does these people bring in your life?
Right.
So you have to really take control of your life, and sometimes you just kind of ease away from people, because they bring a lot of dark energy, and you don't need that in your life.
Come on.
Yes,
Say it
yes.
again.
You don't
Wow.
Say it
hate them or
again.
anything. You just ease away
Right. Right.
and love them from way over here.
From afar, long handle spoon.
Oh wow, you were preaching to me this morning.
It is
I had
Sunday.
some people that
It is
I
Sunday.
love, but you need to be over there.
Be in the
Ladies,
top bleachers
wanna
and
ask
go,
you, too.
hey, how you doing?
Are you all involved in the walks, the annual walks this year, or?
As a matter of fact, before I even was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was in walks. I did
Oh,
the
okay.
walk, but then here I go walking for myself, and it's a difference when you walking for someone,
Right.
But
Right.
then when you walking for yourself, it's more personal.
Okay.
Right.
So
Different
I
perspective.
I didn't make it this year, but I will be there next year.
All right.
Okay.
Miss Wanda.
Been walking since I do the American breast cancer. I don't do the one that's the 3-day is amazing. I've seen people do it. You have to raise a lot of
A
money.
3-day walk?
Yeah.
You have to raise a ton of money before you can even participate. It's not just walking. So the American, you can walk. You don't always have to donate, but we encourage you to. And I've even done it by myself, because it was bad weather and nobody wanted to come, so I still did it, because it's very important to me
Right.
to go out and support. And being with all those ladies, and sometimes it's the families of the people that didn't make it, you feel such good energy.
And that's wonderful to hear that people, they didn't make it, but their family is still, walking
Supporting.
for them
Yeah.
and feeling that good about it. Wow.
And one thing too, that I guess that's not really discussed too, is that men also get breast cancer.
Yeah, I
Yes.
was just about to say that men
people
do get
also
breast
think
cancer.
that this is just a woman's disease, and it's
No.
not. I have a good friend whose father, unfortunately, did pass away from this horrible disease. But men get breast cancer as well too. So don't, men get checked out, and I just want to raise that up, because some people think it's just a woman's disease, and it's not.
You'd be surprised how many men actually get the disease. It's just as great a percentage of men as it is women.
Really?
Yeah, it's I think it was like 12% of men get breast cancer. So.
But I wonder why it's not. I wonder why it's not really talked about as much as.
Because
I
you
mean,
guys
know.
don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, men don't.
That's how it is.
It's a
Y'all don't go
female.
to the doctor as much as women.
This is
do.
true.
That's
This
true.
is true.
And we'll
It's
sit
true.
and we'll share and we'll talk about and be open with each other as women about what's going on, even before we get to the doctor. Men, we almost have to shove y'all out the car.
Yeah,
to
right.
Get you to go
Trick
into
us into going like we're going to
And
McDonald's. No,
they
we're going to
would
the
know
doctor.
to check their breast for or excuse me, their chest area.
I apologize. Miss Wanda about to have all the men turn the channel.
But see, that's something too, because not all breast cancer has lumps.
Yes.
Right.
You have pain, you have discharge.
Okay.
It's a lot of stuff that's make you aware that something is wrong. I need to go get this checked out. So it's not always a lump.
Right.
So
But they would never, they just would not tell someone that something is going on in that area.
Right.
I must have did something wrong. I was working out. I lifted something wrong.
Strain or
Right.
something.
Right.
Right. Well, the thing is, like you said, your health is very important. So you have to open up, and we have to get away from that being too ashamed to talk about
yes,
things.
Right.
yes,
Absolutely.
So, ladies, I want to thank you for your strength, your empowerment, being so open with us this morning and educating, because that's a lot of information that you shared that, a lot of us, we just don't know. And, we all know, just keep being tested. That's myself. I'm late on my exam, so I got to get in there.
yes, yes.
Yes, that's so important. Just go. It's scary every time. It's painful. It's a horrible test.
Okay.
I pray one day that it's easier for women to get their tests, that they change the method and how they screen us, because that's the other thing that scares so many women. My first time getting a mammogram, I almost passed out because of the horror stories people told me. And the ladies in the waiting room were all older, and they said, "Someone scared you, didn't they?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." And I almost passed out.
Well, okay. Well, thank you for sharing, and please come back. Any more information you ever want to share with Empowered Living for our audience, please feel free. Just come back, share with us, give us the updates, give us the reminders to go get tested.
Yes.
And we are going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with our next guest that is representing the nation of Israel. So stay tuned, Detroit. WHPR is the place to be, and come right back and join us.
Come back, Detroit.
If you hear this message, wherever you stand, I'm calling every woman, calling every man.
Welcome, Judge Mathis. Thanks for coming to share an important message with the Wayne County taxpayers.
Well, thank you for allowing me to help. Most of my life I was a resident of Wayne County, and so I'm here to help because Treasurer Shabri wants to work with Wayne County homeowners to keep families in their homes and prevent foreclosure.
If you're having trouble making your property tax payments, let us know. We have many resources to help.
Take the first step towards staying in your home by going down to the Wayne County Treasurer's office on the 5th floor of the International Building in Greektown.
Stop by today to learn more about our payment plans and especially the newly extended interest rate reduction program.
Already in the payment plan? It's important you stay in good standing.
Making property tax payments is now easier than ever. We have placed payment kiosks in Rite Aid stores and community centers across the county. We've also added kiosks in our offices. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. For only $99, you can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Every success story starts with a spark of curiosity, of wanting more. Wayne County Community College District has more than 120 academic and career training programs. and support to help you every step of the way. From registration to financial aid to career placement. Find your spark and get on a path to your best life. Register today.
If you hear this message, wherever you stand, I'm calling every woman, calling every man.
Welcome back, Detroit. And we are back, and we are talking to on this segment, Mr. Ben Israel, who is with the Nation of Israel. Great to have you.
Shalom.
Good morning.
Good morning. That means peace, so I like to say peace to all my people.
All right, well, shalom. All right, so you are the Minister of Information, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so what does that mean in the Nation of Israel?
Well, the Nation of Israel is a governmental structure. We are not a camp. We are not a church. We are not an organization. We're not a group. We have been established on the record as a nation ever since 2012. That means we have given public notice, and we've also filed the appropriate paperwork for foreign status under international trust law. So we are under a foreign trust, and we are set forth on the record. So that means that we have several divisions in our governmental structure. And the Department of Information is just one, and it's all inclusive of what the title says. We get that information out to our people as much as possible to let them know who we are and talk about nationality and really tear down some of those things that we have been miseducated on throughout the years, whether it's been through religion, whether it's through formal education, or just research.
Okay.
Brother Israel, nationally, can you explain the nationality and division of land and why we all should know about it?
Well, nationality is extremely important, and nationality encompasses three things. That's a people. You have to have a people. You have to have land, and you have to have a set of laws that govern you. That's what makes up nationality, and it's extremely important for our people. Ever since we have been just throughout the diaspora of us being scattered throughout the world, we have been taken away from our ethnicity and our nationality, not knowing our land, our culture, and our heritage. We think, for most part, in this United States, that our culture started in Mississippi or Alabama, and it goes. The only thing we know is we're from Africa, you know. But it's much deeper and much further than that. So nationality, again, we continue to promote, is about us being a people, a nation, and we are governed by a set of laws. And what that means in connection to the Nation of Israel, and that is that we are Hebrews, as it is written in Scripture. And Hebrews is a plethora of people, not just what we consider under the social construct of African American or Negro, but you also have Hebrews that are Arab or Chaldean. Arab and Chaldean also, for those that don't know, are the same groups of people. They're just divided by religion.
Right.
And so they're the same people, but they are Hebrews as well, along with us. And that goes back to Scripture, to the Table of Nations that's broken down into three groups. That's Shem, Ham, and Japhet, or Yaphat. And so when we get to that division, Hamites are, most people think if you're black, you're a Hamite. You know, Hamites are, they're a Pacific group of people, and they are throughout the continent of Africa. Shem has our people as well, which are the Hebrews, which Hebrews started with. That terminology came from Abraham or Abraham. He was the first one that was called Hebrew, because he dwelt in the land of Heber, and he was a nomadic person. So through Abraham, or Abraham, as is written in Scripture, the Almighty said that he would establish many people, a great nation. Many nations would flow through Abraham. And so with that being said, we have been divorced from our culture and heritage as it relates to the Scripture. We have been educated based upon Christianity, which has caused us to be convoluted in our understanding of Scripture.
All right. We had to pause for a minute.
Yeah.
And that's all right. It's a good pause. You know, you got to take that in. I know you all have something coming up, and it's celebrating the 400 years of, you know, back to slavery during that time. We're going to post the flyer up so everyone in and our viewing audience can see it. There it is right there, 100 Years in America. How did this come about?
Wow, that is a great question because originally, we are a people that are guided by the hand of the Almighty. And originally, this conference didn't start as a conference. It started just with a group of us that wanted to go visit one of the elders that lives in Missouri. And it morphed into a conference, and what that means is, as I don't know, everybody can't see my sling. I had a car accident, and so I had to have operation done, so I can't travel that far. And my wife, she can't travel that far either. So they said, well, why don't we just come and see you, Samuel, and we'll come down and see you, and we'll come together as a family, because that's what it's about. It's about family. It's about us getting back into our culture and loving each other.
Right.
There's already enough hate, enough division.
Yes, indeed.
We're divided by religion as well.
Yes.
So we had that set up to come to Detroit, and so therefore we said, well, why don't we kind of invite some of our people to talk about some of the things that we're doing, because we're doing a whole lot.
Right.
So that turned into this conference that you see before your eyes. Literally, it took maybe 40 days to put this together. And we didn't know what we were doing when we put it together. Didn't know that this was going to turn out to be such an event.
But see, when the Spirit is in it, in righteousness, it goes the way it's supposed to happen.
Moves.
You don't lead it,
Exactly.
it leads you. And with that being said, how do you get us, I'm going to talk about us, to understand this? Because just like you gave some background history, and there's a lot more to it. Those that don't take the time to educate themselves, they don't always embrace what you're saying.
Correct.
We will say, oh, no, I don't believe that. How do you deal with that? Because I'm quite sure that comes up.
Often. And I talk to my people often. I'm very long-suffering, and I'm dedicated to that challenge. Even if the person up front say, hey, no, I don't understand that. It takes love and compassion to correct the things that have been mistaught. So we have to be patient.
Absolutely.
This didn't happen overnight.
Right. Most
of us have been fed the social constructs that we live under, the banner of religion that we are guided by from birth. Even if your household is not very religious, the connotation of religion is there. You got Christmas, Easter, you got Jesus Christ, you got the cross, you got all these things that you are bombarded with from birth. And really you embrace it because your parents embraced it, and they embrace it because their parents embraced it. But we have not been educated about what happened. Truth be told, we were given the banner of Christianity when we were on the plantation. Okay? It was not too long ago when most households, when they had a picture of Jesus Christ, it was blonde hair, blue eyed.
Right.
Or if you went into a church, it was blonde hair and blue eyed. Here, over the last 30 years, we have, I always say, we have taken a brown crayon and colored that and made it brown, and now it's right, and now it's ours, and now we embrace it. Without going back and looking at the storyline and details to see, is this really the case? But more importantly, who is the one that spoke about in the scripture? And I'll be very definitive. Scripture is from Genesis to Malachi. Now, the New Testament that covers Matthew and Revelation is exactly what that says. That was translated from Greek.
Right.
The scripture from Genesis to Malachi was translated from Hebrew. And if we are Hebrew people, then we should be looking into the Hebraic writings more so to define who we are and where we come from.
Right. And you know what? Speaking truthfully as a teacher now, and just looking at the perspective as a student, I would go to church, but I would have questions, and I would say, okay, the Bible is history. And my grandparents were in ministry. And they would say, yes. And I said, when we go to school, this does not mesh with what we're learning in school. Why is it okay I can go to church and learn this, but when I get out of church, I got to learn this over here in schools? So, unless you kind of have that mindset and start looking for yourself, then it doesn't come together for you. You know what I'm saying? Like you were saying, nationality and religion, those are two different things, because actually that's what happened. They cut our nationality out, where we're just okay, by religion, this is who we are, but that is not true.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You hit it on the head, because we have been taught the word of the Almighty or God from the aspect of religion, and not from the aspect of a historical standpoint and nationality. If we are students of the Scripture, we will see that the Almighty's word clearly defines nationality, a landmass, and a set of laws for His people. And so if we get back and immerse ourselves in that, we can start to really unravel a lot of the lies that we've been told over the years. You know, so that's the stance that we take. That's what we do, and we're passionate about it. But we're also long-suffering. We know this thing is not going to change overnight, you know. But it's very important for us to understand nationality.
How does the United States recognize the nation of Israel?
Well,
and what's the process?
Well, the process, there are, without turning this into a legal conversation, you have four terminologies.
Okay.
One is public and private, those two terms, right? And there's a term called lawful and legal. So public is what you put on, you make public notice about. Like, for example, if you are getting married or somebody died, they put public notice in the newspaper, right? Private is we can come together and we can formulate a contract with each other. And that doesn't have to be shared, but it's private between us.
Okay.
And but it only becomes public if we want to bring it into the public realm. And basically, if there's a breach in contract between us, then we take it judicially and have it adjudicated appropriately. Then we've taken a private matter and made it public. Well, legal is similar. Legal and lawful. Lawful is giving public notice. For example, if I want to declare myself to be something, I give public notice on the public record. Oftentimes that's done through the county records or even through the Library of Congress, things of that nature. Legal is statutory. Okay. So I wanted to define that before, you know, I make sure I clear that up.
I understand.
So what we did was we took all the words that are written in the Scripture, and Scripture also, the terminology for Scripture is Tanakh, T-A-N-A-K, right? That covers both what you know as the Torah, and which is the first 5 books. Right? And then you have your Hebraic writings of the prophets. So you have your prophets and your writings, which makes up the Tanakh. So the Tanakh covers the Torah, right? And then the writings was the Shittim and the Kittim of the prophets. So there's 3 books that made up the Tanakh. So we took all of the information as indicated in the words of the Almighty. We just took it for what the Almighty had given us in the Scripture, and we put that forward and drafted up documentation, made it public notice, and we also filed the appropriate paperwork to establish the nation as a foreign trust.
Okay. All right.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of work, but you all were really, it is very important. It is very important. Tell us again the address and where this is going to take place.
All right. Well, the event is going to be at the Northwest Activity Center. It's going to be from 2 to 5 p.m. Next Saturday. And that address is 18100 Myers, Detroit, Michigan, 48235. 48235. Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right, we just want to make sure we get that out there again, just in case someone's just now joining us and they need to understand what's going on. This is a question. How do you all recognize or have you associated with the Limba tribe?
Well, we've reached out internationally to all of our people. We embrace all of our people. We have a plethora of historians from that particular tribe and from other people throughout the continent of Africa as well, and in the Middle East.
Okay.
And so there, I don't know if you're aware, there was in 1967, 68-ish, there was a group of our people who left Chicago and went to Dimona, Israel. And they've been there ever since. And they've been living there. They have a community there. And so they have a very extensive background. And a lot of our elders and a lot of our people thrive there. And they come back to the United States, and we talk and we dialogue. And again, we don't get into organizational divisions either.
Right.
So what we do is let everybody know continually we're adamant about nation.
Right.
This is your nation. It's just as much as we're sitting here today. This is your nation. This is your nation as well. It's not a group. It's not an organization. As I was passing out flyers, I was out a couple days ago, and I came across a couple Christian pastors and deacons, and one of the deacons, he took the flyer. And he said, "Wow, this is deep. I see it's about Hebrews." He said, "The pastor across the street is a Hebrew," and on the inside, I said, "Well, you're one too."
Right.
But that lets me know that their understanding of being a Hebrew is based upon religion. Not nationality.
Right. And that's why I asked about the Limba tribe, because a lot of people do not know. Over the years, it has been determined by their genealogy that the Ark of the Covenant belongs to them. And when you meet them in Africa, they greet you shalom.
Exactly.
And they were considered the lost tribe that, wandered, and now they,
out of Israel.
Yeah.
And to give more background on that, there were 12 tribes in Israel.
Right.
And prior to what most of us know about, which is 70 CE or AD, where the destruction of Jerusalem occurred, most of the tribes were already scattered throughout the world, because that's one of the curses that the Almighty said that he was going to cast upon our people for disobedience. And I tell our people all the time, if you want to know who's who according to Scripture, go read Deuteronomy 28, look at the curses, and see who is pinpointing.
Right.
And if you look at it, by far, we are the people of the book. If you look at it, for example, what city can you go to throughout the world where it's predominantly black, our people, and it's not filled with drugs or with all kind of poverty from liquor stores, political injustice. You have inside of our and inside of our communities, we don't have any businesses.
Right.
And one of the curses says that the stranger among us will rise up high above us. And that's what's occurred. You could just, all we got to do is open our eyes. We don't even have to, the Almighty speaks to us through our life. We are the actual walking book when we really understand who we are.
Yeah, and the thing is, the spiritual connection, it really, if you are a spiritual person, it connects to you, and you will find that information. You know what I mean? Because we are people that, people think religion was given us, but God had, truly, if we're his people, we have that connection.
Exactly.
What is it called? Aman?
Right.
See, you didn't think I had. You didn't think I know. You didn't think I know. You didn't think I know.
I didn't.
Yeah, she's been studying.
See, I've been studying over the years, because, like I said, and it didn't just start. It started with that, when you have that question, and we should not shut our children down. I had that question. I would go to church, and I would say, "This is history. I'm listening to this. This is true, right? Yeah, this is true." I go to school. Wait a minute. Now you telling me this over here? Why is it such a divide?
Right.
And where do you find the connection?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's
I
like
think that's been lost for
too
long.
And the only thing they teach us in school, as far as our history, starts off where you came from Africa and you were on the plantation and
took
this
a boat
happened
over here, and
right.
Right.
We are ancient people. Our heritage and nationality doesn't start and stop there. Okay, it's well beyond that.
Right.
That's just like the terminology African American. What's that? That's a social construct that we have been taught to embrace that coincides again, even in religious aspects. You find our religious pastors in our communities push that.
Right.
Although we have the same book, we have the same scripture, the information is there.
Right.
You know, so we are very adamant about really educating our people who we are, and we start off by showing them who we are not.
Okay.
And that's why I want to ask you too, Brother Samuel. But how do we get black people to understand who you are and about the minds of people of Israel? How do we? What should we do, or how should we speak to our people? Now that I know I'm Hebrew, how do we get to the other people who don't know the Hebrews, and what methods or what resources do you encourage to just to I guess open their minds?
Well, you know what? I always say this. The first thing that we have to do is show our people that we care.
Okay.
That's the number one
Passion.
thing. Passion. If we show them that we care, we love them, and that's just not lip service.
Okay.
That's getting out there. That's helping them. That's doing it. Countless hours I'll be on the phone in the middle of the night counseling people, helping people in whatever financial means that I can. Because we are we have a lot of issues.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
We could talk about
We'd
that
be
all
another
day.
hour.
But
Another hour we'll be here.
but to show them that we love them, to show them that the reason why we're giving you this information is not to tear down your belief. Because, you know, when we study the scriptures way back, everybody knows the story about Moses in Egypt. Well, when the Almighty called for Moshe or Moses to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt, you got to know that they all didn't follow the same belief structure. They were in Egypt for 430 years, which was 215 of those years they were not oppressed. They were only oppressed 215 years out of the 430 in Egypt. Because if you follow the story, Yosef or Joseph was a emperor or was a high ruler, ranking official in Egypt for a long time. So we want to slowly embrace and show them, out of love and compassion, the lies that they have been told. And you know, we have a website. And that website is www.yahwillgather.us. We have a plethora of information on that website, and I encourage everyone to go to that website and start to read and immerse themselves in the information that's put forth there. Also, I myself am open to conversation by phone and email to talk to our people at any given time about any topic concerning our people, whether it's scripture, whether it's nationality, all those things.
All right. Well, we thank you for stopping by and sharing with us. And,
Absolutely.
you know, how things come together, it is all, I believe, a spiritual connection. Because if anybody's been following me on social media, they'll know now why I have said, even before this conversation, rise up, Judah.
All praise, exactly. Rise. You know, we are emerging as a lion in the thickets. Yeah, it's interesting that you said that, because Judah or Yehuda is the king tribe. The king tribe has to speak for the rest of its people. We are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. It's no coincidence that in 1619, the first Africans were auctioned off in Jamestown, Virginia. This bill, H.R. 1242, was passed to commemorate the African American that was first auctioned off in 1619. In 2019 will be the 400 years. And if you follow scripture in Genesis 15, the Almighty confirmed with Abraham that, look, your people are going to go into captivity for 400 years, right? And they're going to be oppressed. But after that, I'm going to bring them out with great substance, and I'm going to judge the nations. Now, this is not by our own power and strength. Let me just clear that up. We can't do anything in our own power and strength. It's by the hand of the Almighty. It was the hand of the Almighty that brought us out of Egypt. It will be the hand of the Almighty that bring us out today.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for
Yes,
coming
indeed.
on. And this has been a powerful episode from just the knowledge on breast cancer awareness, the nation of Israel. We have to have both of you back, especially after this conference, because we definitely want to know how the city responded. And of course, it's not going to stop because we have to keep educating.
Exactly.
But Loris and I would like to thank everyone.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Again, the ladies who with the courageous stories of breast cancer awareness, and again, we encourage people in the cities of Detroit, go to your doctors. Go to your doctors and get this men too. Since the ladies talked about me and us, men, go to the doctor and just get things checked out, because it's better to know. It's better to be in the know. And this information here with Brother Samuel, I'm overwhelmed and excited to learn more about what's going to come forth for this. So thank you.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
Thank you.
Next Saturday in the city of Detroit, Northwest Activities Center, join the conference and learn more about nationality, or about who we are. So thank you for joining us for another episode of Empowered Living, and I hope to see you next time.
Have a good week, Detroit.
If you hear this message, wherever you stand, I'm calling every woman, calling every man.